Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Alexander Draws. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button so we can get to 5k and eventually 10k because that's my goal. Anyways, this is inspired by Frozen 2. I saw the movie twice, one with my friends and one with my family. And that movie slapped. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how good that movie was. Of course, it wasn't as good as the original because it's kind of impossible to top it, but it was still really good. And I took elements from the backgrounds in Frozen and elements from Elsa's dress and stuff like that, and I just tried to take inspiration from it. I don't really like doing fan art because I feel like it's someone else's character and I'm kind of copying it. So I like to take inspiration from things, but I don't like to directly copy someone else's work. So that's why I do inspired by and not fan art. But I've done fan art before as a commission, but I don't think I'm going to be doing any more fan art commissions because I don't want to be selling someone else's work. Well, I drew it, but it's still someone else's character, so I think fan art is a kind of no for me. But anyways, let me just talk about what I drew here. If you have been subscribed to me and you saw my video that I posted a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I forget. It's called A Secret Vibe. I guess I can call this A Secret Vibe Part 2. I drew the same character from that drawing, so it's a 2-part series. And the original character was inspired by Frozen 1, I guess. It was really loosely inspired by Frozen. Like, I had it in my head, but I didn't, look up any references or anything. And I decided that I should use this character to make a drawing inspired by Frozen 2. And if you want to draw her, please do. Feel free to draw any of my characters. Just make sure to tag me and give credit. I don't really care. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about what I'm actually drawing now. So, right now, I'm working on the gloves, and I had this idea of doing a mirror for the longest time, but it kind of scared me because I usually never draw people from the back, and I don't really know how that anatomy works, and I tried to find references for it, and it just wasn't working out for me. So I tried my best, and I think it came out pretty well. I'm going to ask my art teacher about it because she'll be able to tell me what is wrong with it. But yeah, and the size of this paper is really weird. A problem I have is that I can't draw big and I draw super small. Obviously, if I don't draw big, I draw small. But that's become a problem because I keep on drawing in really weird sizes. So it's hard to make prints if it's not like a standard size, like 8 by 10, 8.5 by 11. So I wasn't able to make prints at my house with the $200 scanner I bought. I had to go to Staples. And also the printer at my house couldn't print on the heavy-duty paper, so I'm going to have to buy a new printer now. That's just another expense I have, and I don't have the money for that right now, but Christmas is coming up, and I don't know if I want to get more Copics or if I want to get a printer. But I kind of want to be my own source of printmaking. Like, I don't want to go to anyone else. Some people pay other companies to do it for them, but I just want to be my own source of print making. But I was thinking about getting a Redbubble so you guys can get some of my art on like coffee mugs and bags and backpacks and shirts and all that jazz. I don't really know if my art would look good on that stuff, but for Redbubble, all you have to do is scan it in and it'll do all the rest for you, which is super easy, but the trade-off is you lose profit, obviously. So that's the tea on that, and so I think I'm going to do Redbubble, but right now I'm focusing on my Etsy, which I'm still working on because I now have to get a new I have to get a new printer, as I said before. Oh, and funny story about the other picture in this series, A Secret Vibe Part 1. I was selling prints at a bazaar. If you don't know what a bazaar is, It's where there's a bunch of tables and there's a bunch of sellers and people just walk through and they buy stuff and they leave. So I had a table and I was selling prints. And one of the prints I was selling was A Secret Vibe Part 1. And this lady asked for me to put one aside for her because she didn't have money, but she was going to come back. So I had all of the originals in a different folder. And so I put the print in the folder with the original so I could set it aside for the lady who wanted to come back. And the next day she didn't come back, so I took it out of the folder and I put it back on the table. And I accidentally took out the original and I left the print in the folder. And some lady came and she bought the original, or like I sold the original to her because I thought it was a print and I wasn't paying attention. And so now I have to figure out a way to get it back from her and trade her for one of the prints, which is going to be a whole entire process, which really sucks. But I really like that picture, and I do not want to lose the original because in the prints it kind of messed up the skin color. I had to do the prints at Staples, and it actually worked out pretty well, but some of the colors were still off. And I want my original back because it had sparkles on it too, and the sparkles did not go through on the print, obviously. So I want the original back, and I have no idea how I'm going to get it back from that lady. But at least it has a safe home for now until I figure out how to get it back. I trust her. She was very nice. And then I sold 2 other prints, and I got some commissions, so it went pretty okay. The table was $25, but I split it with my brother, and he was selling baked goods. So I ended up making some money. But then I gave a check, a $30 check that someone gave me to my mom, and she lost it. And I don't know how I'm going to get my $30 back. I'm super annoyed about that. And she paid for the table, and we had to pay her back, so I had to give her money for the table. And since I didn't get my $30, I'm not even making any money. So she just needs to give me my $30 because she lost it. So one of my main objectives in this piece was to get a lot of contrast because I wanted to make her dress super light. That way it would look ethereal and ghostly and all the pretty things. So I decided to make the rocks dark blue and the sky too. Not to jump ahead, you'll see. And this blue color I am using for the rock started to freaking die. And I needed to use it for a big portion of the sky. And I started to get really scared. So that kind of sucked. And it's really unsatisfying to watch me use dead markers. And this happens literally every single time. All my markers keep on dying and I don't know what to do. I don't have money. I have so many refills. It's because last Christmas I got a ton of markers, but I didn't get any refills. And so now, a year later, all the markers are dying at once that I got. And so now I'm having to get all these refills at once, and I just don't have the money for that because a refill is the same amount of money as a marker. And so I'm really struggling to buy all these refills, and it's really limiting the colors I can use. But it's okay because using a limited color palette is fun and makes the piece more cohesive. And that was another one of my goals for this piece, was to make it look cohesive. And in the beginning, I kind of messed it up because I made the ground a super ugly color that didn't match at all. But I think I fixed it in the end and changed it to blue-green so the drawing would come together more. And on the rocks, I tried to do a new marker technique. Not a new technique, but a technique that I don't really use, where you put down the dark color first, and then you put down the light color on top, and it kind of feathers out the dark color, and you get some really nice textures, kind of like watercolor. I don't know, I saw it in this Copic marker video, this tutorial by some dude. If I can find him, I'll link it down below. But the tutorial was really informative, and I learned a bunch of new Copic marker techniques, and I thought I would try one on the rocks because when I look at a big problem I have is comparing myself to a bunch of other artists, And it's really hard to develop my style because there's so many different things I want it to be. Like, I want it to be realistic, I want it to be cartoony, I want it to be like semi-realistic, and I want it to be textured and this and that. And it's kind of like a war between all the different things I want, kind of pulling me in all these different ways. And I'm trying to find a happy balance and a happy medium. Is that what it's called? A happy balance? It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to find a middle way, I guess, of balancing all the things I want in my art. And one of the things I've been trying to do is more texture, especially cross-hatching in my line art, and I didn't do that in my piece, and I'm kind of sad because I love the texture that gives, and I did it on an art project at school. It was a realistic drawing of a still life, and I did a lot of cross-hatching, and I loved it, but then I kind of got lazy at the end, and I didn't end up liking the finished product, so that was very interesting. And I'm now realizing that I want to post this on TikTok, and I completely forgot to record it, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But you guys should definitely check out my TikTok. My TikTok is Alexander Draws. I have a bunch of stuff that I do not post on here. And you should check out my Instagram for high-quality photos of what I draw. My Instagram is Drawings by Alexander. Top-quality stuff. The links and stuff to all of that will be in my bio or description of this video. So please go check that out and leave a nice comment. And say, like, if you made it this far in the video, say French fries or something. That way I know. Because these videos take so long to make and edit. I literally sat here and colored for an hour and 30 minutes. So if you're wondering why you never see me do the sketch part or the line art, it's because the coloring takes so freaking long that if I put the sketch and the line art in, it just wouldn't be possible for me to do. And I use iMovie to edit, and even at its fastest, like, I sped up the clips as fast as they could go, and it only went down to 40 minutes. It went from an hour and 30 to 40 minutes. And if you're not monetized, the most a video can be is 15 minutes. So I have to work in a 15-minute limit. And I actually got this video down to 12 minutes, so I'm kind of proud of myself. And I literally had to cut out every single time I picked up the marker, so that way there was no extra time. I post every Sunday, so please come back. Bye, guys. See you in the next video.